When Dr Mahathir Mohamad ran for office again, he promised, amongst other things, to correct the country's debt situation. But it was only when his administration went through the books that they discovered that money was not just owed to creditors, they owed taxpayers too. There was the Rm 19.4 billion in GST refunds that the Customs Department could not pay back. Then there was the Rm 16 billion in income and real property gains tax refunds, stretching back for more than 6 years, which were held back. In an interview with Malaysiakini, the Prime Minister expressed frustration when he spoke on how his team's efforts to rebuild the government was being hamstrung by the unraveling of one financial hole after another.
They do all kinds of things which are wrong. For example, they collected excess income tax, and now we learn that $16 billion were collected which were not due to be collected, and now we have to pay. They don't care. If they had won the election, they wouldn't pay these people. They couldn't care less. But we have an obligation to honor our words, even if these words were actually uttered by the previous government. We inherit all the mistakes of the previous government, and it has been a terrible thing trying to rebuild the whole government. The whole administration has been subverted. There are many officers who work only for the party, to the point of campaigning, wearing blue shirts and all that. And some of them are still out to frustrate this government by not carrying out instructions and all that. This is not easy. It's not like my 1981 Prime Ministership when I came in with a clean sheet. The government was functioning well, and although we had some problem with the finances, those were not insoluble. But here we have a terrible government where we cannot trust many of the officers, and they showed that they cannot be trusted. And then on the top of that, the whole structure of the government has been dismantled and made use of for party purpose. The government officers were like party leaders. They work for the party, not for the government, not for the nation. And we have to rebuild the government, actually rebuild the government and allocate jobs and define jobs that has to be done. At the same time, we didn't have the money. Now we have to pay 16 billion for the income tax, another 19 billion of money that was due to be repaid for excess payment of GST and all that. All these things were committed by the last government. Why are you blaming us for this? Or do you want us to let these things be and not pay back what is due to the people? We have to do the right things. And the same thing is about the market. I would like to say this. Najib borrowed huge sums of money and spent it on various projects. Of course, he created jobs, and so investors in this company will feel happy. But what about repaying? He has created huge debts that we have to repay now. And see, so we have to concentrate on repayment of loans, because if we don't, this country will go bankrupt. And when that happens, you can't do anything anymore. You'll be like Greece. That is what we are doing, to rehabilitate the finances and the economy of this country. But some people in the market feel that if you spend stolen money, if you spend money that you borrowed which you cannot repay, that is fine because that creates job. Consumption will go up and all that. Yes, but it is with stolen money, with money that is borrowed and you cannot repay. Which is more important, to rebuild the finances and the economy, or to allow the economy and the finances to rot further so that you can borrow and spend money and have good reports about how you spend money? Because as you know, consumption is part of the contribution towards GDP, and you can increase consumption by borrowing huge sums of money and spending. That's consumption. But what about repayment of the loan? A country that tries to rehabilitate, to repay loans, is a country that is doing good. But apparently the market feels that you should not bother about paying debts. You should spend the money, and you spend, the GDP goes up.